an artist who has no AI in their bio. This artist, I believe, is using AI in their work. This is all just speculation until proven otherwise. This person is making a profit off of AI art. She's deceiving people that probably don't know better or can tell if it's AI art. You can't live forever, Kikowah. A lot happened in regards to my last video. TLDR, I accused an artist of using AI. That is a very bold accusation, which is why the video was far from short, though it seems that my evidence wasn't strong or convincing enough. If you're missing context, click top right to see the original video. At this point, it seems I'm specifically targeting this person as if she killed my family. I'm only emphasizing what I didn't clarify in my first video here. The point of my first video was to use her as an example that there are other people doing the exact same thing as her. She happens to be the one I found first. I acknowledge that I am a very small content creator in the art community, so my voice carries less merit. It's good to have that sort of caution, as there are plenty of artists who are falsely accused of using AI. This is also an update to the situation. We decided to have a one-on-one chat, but it took a while for her response because she was busy, considering the holidays, personal reasons, and time zone differences. I told myself I'd wait until she responded with anything at least. And in the meanwhile, I had more time to look for more proof and to do more digging. It wasn't even all that hard to find. Though by the time I actually found a lot more evidence, I wanted to hear what she had to say. Now, if she was going to be honest, was another thing entirely. That being said, this is the last video I will talk about this particular situation. There's a lot to talk about. A lot of things I didn't make clear. I provided timestamps throughout the video if you're looking for me to address something directly. This was something brought up here and there, that the creator of the account didn't respond quick enough for me, which is why I made the video. That's not true. I already had a lot on my mind in regards to AI and how some of it is hard to tell. Some people generate images and act like they had any part of making it when all they did was type in a few words. And then you have the people applying it in their art process. Some don't even apply, they just copy exactly what the AI does. When you're using AI as a reference instead of a legitimate artist, mistakes are bound to be there. Kikowah isn't a full-out AI-generated account. However, there is usage. The fact they put no AI in their bio was crazy because it was deliberately misleading. If I asked them directly if they're implementing AI in their work and showed them the evidence as to why I think so, they're not gonna tell me they are. If those words were not there, I wouldn't have batted an eye because I'm seeing these type of accounts more and more frequently. Now, I'm going to address some things I said that came off as confusing or vague. I am aware of it. I used raw commentary in that video. I usually script out my thoughts so that they're more clear and coherent because I'm bad at describing things. But there were a lot of moments that made you go, huh? Some people expressed in my comments that the errors I pointed out could very much be done by a human artist. Yes, you are correct. People make mistakes in their art all the time, but you can literally see what a human mistake looks like compared to an AI-generated mistake. I grew up making mistakes, but they were not deliberate. If you're making something, you have an intention whether you draw it correctly or not. When an AI makes an error, it doesn't know better. At least in this point in time. It's not on a level of human consciousness to understand why it made that mistake. Generated images have gotten better and are harder to catch. But even so, you can still see when an image just doesn't look right. You zoom in and look closer and see the cracks. And that's what I spent the video pointing out. The mistakes of the post I believe were AI errors or parts that were just suspect in general. The ones that weren't using AI were far too inconsistent with her actual art. I believe not all of her posts use AI. And that's the thing, Kikowah is doing both. She is incorporating AI into her work while adding her own touch, effectively making it harder to catch. While Kikowah does have the ability to draw on her own, she chooses to use AI. With the drastic quality of work she's presenting post to post, there are far too many mistakes and inconsistencies. It is beyond labeling it as multiple art styles. And speaking of, I'll give you guys an example. Let's say I am an anime artist. I am drawing a finished, fully rendered piece of a chibi and an anime character. Let's just call the anime character the protagonist. Both of these drawings can be considered two different art styles. I have a direct reference of what they look like, but I still draw their signature look wrong. The protagonist is missing several iconic features. The colors are wrong, the clothing and hair is wrong, lines are jagged, and the overall finished product doesn't match the usual quality I create. But the chibi has none of those mistakes. Zero. It is clean even when you look into the finer details and it matches up with the reference. Let's say I don't even use the reference and I'm doing something like giving the character different clothes or a different hairstyle. There are still key features that make a character identifiable. The chibi still looks clean by the end of it. That is an inconsistency that shouldn't happen, since the quality in both works are so different. If I have that capability, why would I not apply that to all of my artwork? It's why using AI as a reference is bad, and also why you shouldn't use AI into your artworks, period. Things get very confusing and it's hard to trust what is authentic when you are actually making art without it. It becomes worse when you are using it and then deny usage completely, in which she very much did deny. Yes, Kikowah did respond after my last video. The reason why she didn't respond anytime sooner is because she is a mother now. She mentioned in some of her previous posts that she was pregnant. That is a mistake on my part. Even if she had the time to respond and showed me her evidence, I don't think she would be honest with me. I did reach out to Kikowah after I was informed she left multiple comments on my older video. She said she was trying to reach out to me on Instagram and couldn't because of my settings. That wasn't intentional. I wasn't trying to ignore her or her explanation. The only response I knew of was when she responded to my Instagram comment when she could. In response to my last video, she provided 3 speed paints. They weren't even the worst of what I thought were AI. I'm going to get into her art process in a bit. The first speed paint I asked for was before I really dug into the whole account. The reason I asked for the speed paint was because at this point I was suspicious after looking at her account once. If anything, I don't think this image has AI at all. The other 2 speed paints, I thought they were just sus. And I still do. At this point, I was sure she was applying generated images into her work in general. And that leads us to... In the end of my last video, I said if she doubled down, I'd like to see a live stream of her full process. Now that I know she has a baby, that's out of the question. And that's valid. She isn't obligated to do what I ask. When she shows her hand cam time-lapse in her reels, the video jumps constantly between rendering. Yeah, I know, that's how art time-lapses work. If Kikowah wasn't using AI, then her faking it wouldn't even cross my mind. But let's put that on pause and compare that to her Procreate speed paints. Sabina! Kikowah is showing her time-lapses, her speed paints. She's showing evidence. What are you talking about? What I'm about to say doesn't apply to all artists but the one I am currently talking about. Procreate, which is the app she uses, provides time-lapses within its program. Every stroke you make is counted. It shows everything you do. But there is a way you can hide images and references so it doesn't show up in the time-lapse. Add a private image. It makes it easier to trace. For her coloring, she can also open the reference tab to eyedrop colors she wants and have them ready, or just pre-select colors. For the hand cam, she obviously wouldn't show that she's tracing over an image. When I see these videos, she's usually adding on to something already there. With multiple jump cuts, she can be seen emphasizing her work, drawing additional hair strands, adding lighting or coloring, or overall adding final touches. At the point in time where I believe she's using AI, I haven't seen a reel of her drawing the very start of her sketch that matches her popular art style. Really, the only time I've seen something completely drawn from scratch is from a Procreate time-lapse. I wanted to talk about this time-lapse. This was one of the speed paints directly from Procreate that she gave me. Her explanation for this one is that this is a sketch. It can be, because it's not fully polished, right? And the lines are scratchy. I'd say for a sketch that this is pretty cleaned up. Like, a sketch isn't gonna be perfect, it's a sketch, I know this. But you still know what you're drawing, and she's marking it up as a mistake. Yeah, there's mistakes, just not human ones. Do you remember the private image thing I was talking about? I pointed out the microphone, but looking at it again, that isn't the only weird thing I noticed. I'm looking at all of these characters, but it's supposed to be one OC. I guess this could be like concept art to test out different designs, but the composition is kinda weird. That doesn't mean what you're drawing shouldn't be so inconsistent. Like, they all have glasses, a hoodie, or a sweater, and some of them have gaming headphones. One of these headphones is not like the other. You're telling me that she can draw headphones like this in one go, lean up, draw it again, and not notice they look funny? She drew 2 headbands and couldn't even tell which one was the right one, so she colored both. Okay, so I found an example of like an AI generated character concept. As you can see, there's definitely some inconsistencies. I feel like she probably traced over something like this. And let's see what's kind of different. The color here is different. There seems to be this brown color, kind of the same color as her hair. It's kind of here, it's here, but it's not in the other 2 portraits. And she's missing her hair back here. And she just chopped off her ponytail right here. And it didn't even take me that much to find this image either. All I did was Google concept art for a character, and it came from this premium AI generated image. You can trace over this image and then just move around the heads and then just fix the shit from there. I found another sketch, and it might not be what you expect either. It's this. If you saw in my last video, you probably remember this picture. I think this was very strongly AI. Now I'm going to show you a reel that was posted 2 days after this.
Artists, show us an example of something that you consider to be a quick sketch. Here's mine.
Do I even have to say anything? It looks like she just made this picture black and white. It would be interesting to see a raw, unedited time-lapse in that amazingly high-quality Disney style. That way we can effectively see everything she does, from start to finish. So I was doing more looking into Kikowah's account, and in one of her posts she said that she does have a time-lapse available. Obviously a long time-lapse wouldn't fit on Instagram, so where else would you find that content? Patreon. Kikowah at some point had a Patreon linked in her bio. As I looked, I didn't see anything but her link tree despite having multiple links. Next best thing I could do is Google it, and there it was. This is the official account. In October 2023, she suspended all subscriptions for personal reasons, so I can't really see the bell time-lapse, which is 4 minutes long. Even if this was open, I don't think I should pay, because if I did, I'm pretty sure I'd be revealing some very personal information available to Kikowah. Not saying she would dox me, but that's still information I'm giving to someone who definitely doesn't like me. So as I was looking through her Patreon page, there was something I very explicitly missed the first time. I noticed the banner had art not posted on her Instagram. Some very fishy art. Art that almost slipped right under the radar. What's one of the most basic rules when it comes to identifying AI art? The fingers. Yes, she has 5 fingers, but where is her thumb? Literally none of these fingers could be a thumb. You cannot tell me that an artist that is meant to be this high level in skill doesn't notice they draw something so incorrectly. And if you look closer, you can see more telltale signs that this was generated by AI. Like, what is this? What is that? If you could visually see gibberish, it would look just like this. Yes, this still counts as using AI, by the way. He's using it for art promotion. I am an artist. I have an eye for these sort of things kind of fast, which leads me to... This is a real argument that was used to discredit me when I was criticizing flaws in Kikowah's work. No, I don't have a degree. I'm not an art professional either. And I bet there are some artists you love that are extremely talented and didn't have the privilege of going to an art school. Not in this economy. I have experience. I wouldn't be talking if I had no idea what I was getting into. You can see my art. Whether it's good or not is debatable. I know my art is on a decent level. You could criticize my art style and say you don't like the way it looks. That would be fine. That's your opinion. You're entitled to it. But I am very familiar with the art process. Am I going to say, ugh, what do you know about art? You can't draw. No. Especially not if the evidence is extremely visual. I'm self-taught. I've been drawing for as long as I can remember. I confidently trust my art experience. And unfortunately, I've seen an unbelievable amount of AI-generated art. You're likely on the same boat. Now, if you can spot it is a different conversation. Artists tend to be detail-oriented, thoughtful, and attentive with what they make, but when they see art that isn't theirs, they tie in that same mentality. They want to know how you made that piece, and so naturally they analyze it with more thought. This doesn't even have to strictly apply to people that can draw. Human eyes in general are just perceptive to patterns. It's a matter of training your eyes to see it. I did point out the visual mistakes of the artwork I thought used AI, but I don't think I broke down what I saw very well. I also didn't clarify when I was pointing AI mistakes and when I was just making critiques in general. So in response to that, there were a lot of comments that said, I'm an artist, I make those mistakes too. I can assure you you're not making the same mistakes a machine is. If my last few segments didn't already convince you, don't worry, I'm going to show more similarities. But before we get into that bit, I want to get into This is a bit of a side quest. In my last video, I brought up the descriptions and I thought she was using ChatGPT. That was also speculation. The reason why I pointed it out is because she's AI savvy. I didn't think she was afraid to use it for more than just her art. I was aware that she is from EU and English isn't her first language. She is from Italy. Thing is, her English is good. Like, I only saw a few instances of broken English, but even so, the rest of her text felt natural. She claims that she's using a scheduling software that writes from Italian to English, like a translator. I'm not really sure what that is. Not to say that it doesn't exist, I just don't know what that is. The only scheduling software on Instagram that I can think of is where you could schedule a post or a message to send. And Instagram does automatically provide translations for other languages in posts and comments. What she's describing, I don't think is a thing on Instagram, so if it's like an app or a website, let me know. With non-human translators like Google Translate, for example, it's not always correct. And when I say this, I mean in a natural dialogue sense. Languages are so diverse. Like if I translate something from English to French and speak that language to a fluent French speaker, they can probably tell. But AI text generators are meant to have damn near perfect language models. I am pretty fluent in English, so I feel like I can see the difference. I don't know. I'm going to show you some similarities between what she generated and what I generated. So if you saw some of the text I generated, you might have noticed how there are quotes for some of them. And look what we have right here. Me thinks she made a mistake copy pasting this. Either that or that is just the most insane coincidence ever. Keyboards outside the US are different, but the layout isn't that different. I'm pretty sure you still have to press 2 buttons at once to use a quote. So if she's gonna make the excuse that she purposely meant to quote something in the sentence or made another mistake, then that's just to be expected. She also might say again that English isn't her first language, ergo the mistake. Also, wait a second, look at the hair, bruh. This is Kikowah shop where she sells her prints. What's weird here, in my opinion, is the titles. I think they also might be AI generated. Pocket Monster Girl, Pokemon related, that's fine. Enchanted Royalty, I guess, because Princess Fiona is a princess and she's enchanted. Lantern Lit Dreams, there's lanterns. Sultan's Serenade, that one seems a little bit weird, but it's whatever. Wild Spirit, yeah, because it's Merida, right? Mystical Depths, Gentle Whispers. I don't really see how this makes you think of Gentle Whispers, but Joyful Moments, it's a Christmas theme drawing. Serenade of the Bayou. So AI likes to repeat words. Sultan Serenade, Serenade of the Bayou, kind of dig into that later. And Harvest of Dreams. Just looking at the context of the picture, like these two are just the ones that don't really correlate at all with the title. I know it doesn't stop there because there are 2 prints on this page that have descriptions in them. A graceful digital illustration showcasing Princess Tiana from Disney's The Princess and the Frog masterpiece. Radiating elegance, she embodies resilience and determination. It's a humble tribute to the inspiring spirit of this beloved Disney princess. A heartfelt digital painting featuring Sally from Disney's The Nightmare Before Christmas, holding a glowing pumpkin accompanied by her ghostly dog Zero. It's a humble tribute to the charm of these beloved characters and the magic of the Halloween season. If you look at them side by side, it's like she recycled the prompt that she used for 2 separate characters. That's why the text feels super repetitive. Now what gives this one away more than the other is how it specifies that she's holding a glowing pumpkin accompanied by her ghostly dog Zero. Like, I'm surprised the other one didn't say something like, our lovely princess holding her frog Prince Charming. We've seen the same thing done in our Instagram captions in what I generated. I checked the other prints, they don't have the same messages like these two did. Now back to ChatGPT. This image is from Kikowah and I asked ChatGPT to generate some art titles for this image. And I got a handful of them. Give me a short title for this art piece. It gives me Radiant Elegance. Another one, Golden Grace, Belle's Timeless Glow, Enchanted Beauty, Belle of the Enchanted Tale. Oh, I forgot to mention. I said another, but keep in mind that this is Belle from Beauty and the Beast. Luminescent Belle, Charm of the Rose, Beauty in the Glow, Belle's Enchanted Radiance, Heart of the Enchanted Rose, Belle's Eternal Elegance, Enchanted Belle, Timeless Belle, and Radiant Belle. You see the repetition I'm talking about? Okay, so this time around I used the Sally picture, right? Based on the art style and elements, a fitting title could be Enchanted Glow, The Pumpkin Secret, Whispers of the Pumpkin Spirit, Hauntingly Radiant. And again, I tried with the Princess and the Frog picture, and like these two are like not that relevant, but then you see this one, it says Magic of the Bayou, Serenade of the Bayou. And now that this information is fresh on your mind, we can look at the other titles and get the same vibe from it. The word enchanted was used a lot, and the words of the. I would do a lot more, but like ChatGPT has this fucking timer, so I can't constantly just use images, and I'm not paying for ChatGPT. I found a website that's called Authentic AI. Originally, I was merely using the website to identify the repetitive cliche things generated text likes to do. So when I decided to look further into the website, I can see that it's giving advice on how to make a business using AI. Anyways, back to 5 common ChatGPT cliches to avoid in your AI created content. Yay! I'm not gonna go too much into this. I'm just gonna kind of like glaze over it. I've already showed so many examples. If you want to pause and read it though, you can. In this blog, you'll learn how to avoid using these tropes to help maintain authenticity. 5 common AI cliches: overusing emojis, automatic yes, that is an immediate yes. Cheesy greetings, you know, I haven't seen any cheesy greetings, but it wouldn't even surprise me. 3 common power words. Let's go straight into the examples. I feel like I've seen crucial. I've probably seen crucial before. Definitely seen unlock, unleash, in a world maybe, dive into. These type of words I've definitely seen in her captions. Number 4, writing style crutches. ChatGPT often overuses specific writing style and structure crutches, and it can be hard to recognize at first. These turn of phrase can be compelling and add a little extra oomph into your writing. But when they're overused, it can make your copy recognizable as AI assisted. It can also get overly repetitive, long-winded, or even boring. Being super repetitive, we literally just went over that, so I don't even have to say much about that. If it's to speak to her Western audience better, then that's fine. Whatever she uses for her descriptions isn't a big deal. It really isn't. She's just using it to put some pizzazz in her posts. Yeah, the focus is still on her art, but you can point out both at the same time. And now, it is time for the most anticipated part of the video. In my last video, I pointed out artwork I believe was AI assisted, and in this one, we're going to go through some side-by-side comparisons with images that are 100% AI generated art. As I was looking up ways to track AI images back to its source, I found something interesting. On a Reddit thread, someone suggested image reversing AI generated images to find other similar results. Doing this was a lot more useful than I thought. The reason why is 1, because there's a chance you can find more similar images or just outright find the original art. And 2, Google Images is flooded with AI. So when we reverse image search, there's a chance that you can find the exact website that produced the image, or even images related that have a similar look. It doesn't even have to be an AI site. Not all AI art generators are the exact same in quality or style even if you give it the same prompts, because they've all stolen from different artists. And of course, some images don't look the exact same pixel by pixel, because that just isn't how generating an image works. Generative AI wouldn't be this much of a threat if it could reproduce the same exact thing over and over with little to no differences. You might say, oh, what if someone used Kikowah's artwork to train AI? That's why it looks so similar. I doubt that. This is the first post where I suspected she began using AI in her process. This is the image before that. There is a whole ass year gap, and that these art styles look nothing alike. How is AI training off her style when this style is already well established with generated images? I can also see some weird things going on with this picture, and even some comments are acknowledging that it's drastically changed. She's playing it off like it's hers too. First on the chopping block, we have this picture. I think she possibly traced over an image to make this. Looking at this, you can sort of tell it's almost unfinished, but the face is rather well rendered. Even the lighting is good. The earrings might also have been the next thing you notice. AI sucks with consistency, so generating two earrings that are even and match each other is hard. In this case, one is higher, one is lower, and one is just disconnected even though it shows a ring. Here are a few images which held similar characteristics from AI. You're going to see a lot that AI for some reason really loves hair bang swoops. These earrings are hard to make out. Also, a common repetitive occurrence in AI is that it really loves certain poses. A pose too dynamic is hard for AI because it has to worry about correct perspective and anatomy, which it fumbles really bad. If I was using these types of images as a reference, my art would kind of be a hot mess. You can probably see more similarities, but we have quite a handful of images to go through. This is the OG piece that I believe is AI generated. This right here is a strawberry cherry. You can see the pores of what's meant to be a big strawberry right here, but then you see the pores also right here, but then there's like a cherry stem. Her eyes are very weird. There's this weird texture, like blob going on around the iris. This tear duct is way bigger than this one. AI loves to make sweaters for some reason, and as you can see, there are like these designs, these patches that are blending into the rest of the jacket. No, well, not a jacket, a sweater. I don't even know what this is, like a sweater t-shirt. This was like my #1 lead. And I'm going to pull up some other prompts that I found online. They resemble each other very heavily. The shape of the eyes, the drink, the hazy blur. It's very saturated. I also wanted to point out I found another AI generated piece. This looks like it's supposed to be Ariel from Little Mermaid. And look at her eyes. The pupils, the way they blend in, it very much reminds me of this. Almost like it's leaking or bleeding. But this is a very heavy trait of AI art. They can't get the pupils right. Listen, I know this piece isn't the exact same compared to the other ones I just showed, but I wanted to showcase the fact that AI loves generating this pose. And this is a better example. This is more similar, I would say. And don't mind this watermark right here. This does not belong to an actual person. I already looked. It can't be a coincidence that both prompts have strawberries, right? They're both in the same pose, pretty much. If you don't think this is AI, then look at the detail, like the strawberries on the clothes. Look at this right here. Look at the background or the table that she's leaning on. It's not even. It doesn't even match. In my last video, I pointed out that her eyes have that 1,000-yard AI stare, and her outfit is kind of incorrect to the original material. I didn't point out that her hairstyle is also wrong. It looks like the AI tried to make a hair swoop and then it just collapsed in on itself. This scene in Tangled is very iconic. It's when she's on a romantic boat ride with Flynn Rider. Her hair is braided, and there are flowers in her hair. It got one of those things right. The detail in the hair is also all over the place. The flowers are also inconsistent and some are like really misshapen. On to the AI picture. Hair swoop. The face is very Disneyified. Her pupils are also melting. The outfit isn't much to look at. You can see it's wrong at a glance. The flowers match that same inconsistency and are even blending into the hair. But I want you to mind the lack of detail and how it turns into a melty, blurry mess. Now we can look at the hair and the shape, and it's all over the place. There are lines that just don't make sense with the flow of the lighting is also really off. It's trying to be dynamic, but it's lacking that logic to be properly dynamic. The background looks AI generated. There are things turning into blobs. It looks very blurry, like this right here. How do you explain this? There are gaps in the hair which should show the background, like the color of the background. Right here too. It kind of shows up here, but then this, I guess it was too much for the AI to process and it just really messed up this spot right here. As I said before, for some reason AI really likes making sweaters. The face is perfectly rendered and very smooth. I know that these pictures are meant to be Moana, but I'm looking more at the facial structure, the style. It's very similar. Meant to look like a sketch, isn't. Ariel's bra has an odd shape. There are scales blending and melting into each other, and some are growing on her arm. There's a large fin on the back of her tail, which doesn't match her general design. Also, one tiny thing, her eyes are more of a teal than a blue. I know that sounds like a minor thing to talk about, but Kikowah has drawn Ariel a few times, and she's definitely given her blue eyes. When I see this, I just get the vibe that this is meant to be a gamer girl, but there's a lot of weird stuff going on. First of all, headphones. remember the last time she drew headphones. There are these things I already said I didn't understand what they were meant to be. You have this weird light right here, which isn't clear where it's supposed to be coming from. You could say the headphones, but we don't see it anywhere else upon her hair. I didn't point this out in my last video because I didn't see it, but her pupils, it's kind of like they're liquefied. And when I first saw this, I didn't even realize that this whole image just might be Diva from Overwatch. And I'll show you why. So when I reverse image searched this is very reminiscent of Diva. This isn't AI generated, by the way. These are. I mean, what the AI generated ones have in common is that they have the gamer headphones. Some of them are attached to their jacket. Some of them are actually just headphones. Some of them, the sweater jacket things, right? They'll have a pink jacket because it's trying to replicate the pink in Diva's outfit. These are just, it looks like she spread cupcake frosting on her cheeks. And also, I pointed out in the last video that there's nothing in between the lips to signify teeth or anything. This is usually darker. The best example I could find was this one right here. They also have the same front bangs like Diva does from Overwatch. The only difference is one is pink and the other is purple. Their eyes are also kind of in a similar shape. At least the AI was able to properly do the makeup on the cheeks right here. The hearts really similarly placed to these things right here. I wanted to point out the structure of the headphones. I thought this right here was the headband, but the headband is right here, and then the headband is also on top. If you know what cat like headphones look like, the cat ears would be on top and there wouldn't be a double headband type of thing going on. Now this is one of the pieces where I think that perhaps she did draw it herself, but she used AI, so it's AI assisted. I believe she has multiple fingers right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This patch right here is supposed to be like the dark blue to signify the hole in her hand, but instead it blends in with her hand itself. I think it's kind of odd how the fingers look like this, but the ear looks like this, like it's unfinished. I pointed out that her glasses right here. She has this right here. I don't know what it's called for the glasses, but it's not on the other side. The back is supposed to be either the sun or the moon, I can't tell, but either way it's very bright and it's glowing. You expect some of more of the lighting to be from behind, or because the light source is showing that it's also from above, not just behind. And surely there would be more shadows around the front. And we see with her art that she's apparently capable of it. Now, these two are totally different art styles, like I understand that, but I just want to show you the capabilities of what AI can generate and what she could possibly be referencing from. And you can see side by side, they kind of have a similar pose, to be honest. And if I was tracing over these fingers, I would probably be confused as hell as to what I'm trying to make. I might mess up and make an additional finger. I might just miss the gaps between what's supposed to be my hair, what's supposed to be my fingers. If I was using this as a guide, I would make mistakes because there are things blending into each other. Even like the hair is like sprawled out along the side to make it look like it's flowing and free. For this drawing, I also think it's kind of assisted. Like she used it as a reference or she copy and pasted some bits, because the face is really like really well rendered, right? But then you see the ear is incomplete, which this isn't the first time we see an incomplete ear, despite the face being fully rendered. Really loves like sweaters. She even has a sweater jacket. Like these two facially, like just the style, it just looks super similar, by the way. This is just the same style, has the same face angle. This is supposed to be Lapis from Steven Universe. I know it's different, but it's just the water theme. And blue hair, blue eyes. I think that this is one of those AI assisted drawings, to be honest. Just the way the hair looks, like all right here. Like it's really hard to make out when it starts and when it really ends. Nothing in between the lips. Just the way it looks, like the perspective is a little bit weird because I thought that she was like underwater, but at the same time, the lighting looks as if she's like out of water. And the way the water gathers right here would make it look like she's outside of the water. But with the way her hair is flowing and the way the fish is just right there, you would think that she's underwater. It's kind of like an optical illusion. The flowers right here look a little bit weird because it looks like it's supposed to be floating above the water, but once again I can't tell if she's supposed to be underwater or above it. Look at the flow of the hair. It doesn't look as if the hair has strands, but is one giant chunk. And this one is also very similar. The way the shape of the face is, like you can see there's fishes right here, but you can't tell if she's like in the water because like there's bubbles right there. There's bubbles, but it looks like she's also above ground because these look like clouds. The eyes, those wide, actually kind of scary looking eyes. It really loves koi fish or goldfish, or the face resting into the hands pose. But do you notice how it looks like she's above the water, but she's also underwater because there's bubbles around her and there's goldfish swimming? And where the leaves are, it just doesn't make sense. Hair swoop, check. Sweater type of thing going on with the shirt, check. Also, a mistake. It's really weird how the book seems super high quality to the rest of, like, just the way the rest of the art looks. But it seems edited in. Highly rendered face, of course. Here we go with the same pose. And her arm is, like, really long. Let's look at this one. Oh, wow. Same pose and everything with the longest arm imaginable. There's nothing for her arm to rest on. And the AI is trying to make up for it because her arm is super, super long. There was a drawing in the last video where I pointed out the character was resting her elbows onto her laptop, and I think this is supposed to be like a laptop or something. But let's see. Hair swoop, glasses, pose. Actually, there's no sweater this time, which is surprising. Oh, this one kind of has a sweater thing going on. I guess this is supposed to be a nerdy girl trope. Like hair swoop, I guess. Different outfit, but same pose, pretty much. This was one of the first drawings where I suspected she started using AI. The hair right here is resting on her shoulder, but for some reason it's super stiff right here when it should be also resting on her shoulder right here. The face is like super rendered, high quality. Before she posted this drawing, she posted this drawing, which is, this is supposed to be like the work in progress. The face didn't change much, only really the freckles. When I looked up this image, I got a lot of fae, I think it's called like fae, centaur, deer girl type of things going on. It even has like the same like face and the like the angle and everything. Look at the details in the flower and compare that to the flowers up here. And of course it has like the antlers. Now that I look at it, this looks more like a forest elf girl type of thing, and this one looks more like a fae. And here we have another one. It's pretty much like the same thing. The last one had more of like a furry ear, if that makes sense. This one, elf ear. This one kind of does have more of a deer ear, if anything, and deer horns. And once again, they have like the flower crown. And you notice she has jewelry on her forehead right here. And I guess this is supposed to be similar too. And right here, what it looks like to me, AI was trying to make a braid, but it just failed, like miserably. AI just likes making random braids. Shoulder turn just a little bit. Also, I realized with this one and the other one is that they also have like golden eyes and like kind of tan skin, you know? Now sit tight and listen to this. I thought this was the original art, and I was just like, holy shit. Maybe I found the real artist of what the AI was training from, but no. On the right is also AI generated artwork. We have someone training AI art from AI art. I checked the dates. This definitely came out first, and this one was trained from the left picture. For this Princess Jasmine drawing, I remember pointing out a number of things which I thought were kind of fishy. Firstly, I pointed out the fingers. It looks like they're kind of merging into one. This is an art critique, by the way, not a suspicion of AI. Because the arm is like angled like this, it should be like this, not back, because then her arm is in this very awkward position. So I pointed out that with her gaze, she's supposed to be looking at the bird. Her gaze is more up here than it is like down here. What she doesn't have is with her hairband, she doesn't have these right here. And what AI likes to do, it likes to add its own artifacts and its own additional characteristics, because when it comes to AI art and already well-established characters, it doesn't get them right 100%. We saw that with the Ariel drawing, it's not right. And she drew Ariel 3 different times, and each of those times there was something wrong with the character. So here, this is definitely supposed to be Princess Jasmine. Look, it gets the characteristic wrong with the headband right here. And instead of the way the earrings are shaped like a triangle right here, it just went for an entirely different shape. Also, her hairstyle is wrong, except like the bangs. And here we have a really whitewashed Jasmine. Oh wait, speaking of whitewashed, I remember in my last video, she apologized for not taking into account for Jasmine's ethnical features, which means her nose gave Jasmine a little button nose. Now this one's a little bit more close. I really think that whatever style generated for this picture, it was more in tune to this one right here. There's one more photo that isn't even a Jasmine picture, but it is super, super similar. Okay, get a load of this picture. These two I would have thought that this image was trained off of this or vice versa. But okay, like just look at that. You see how she can like just reference and just like possibly trace over an AI image, or just straight up take out the face and then do the rest herself, because the face stands out than it does the rest of the piece. One of the things that people were defending was that she has like various different art styles, which is like, if you've seen all the different art styles this whole time, you're like, wow, that's an absurd amount of art styles. And this is a different one. This is really like, this is an example, not really because of the style, because it kind of does look 3D, but there's multiple people, right? But it's just the shape of the eyes. You see how the shape of the eyes are? It really reminds me of the shape of the eyes like this. Like just the way it looks, I would have probably thought that this is just like a 3D version of this. And I found another one that really kind of reminds me of this style. Just like the eyes, the face, the shape. Even like the smile. Even this smile looks very similar to this smile. This is an art style that I only saw maybe once from Kikowah. I swear I've seen AI generate this art style before too. I just don't know how to place it. Yeah, so let's look at this image. You notice how there's like holes in the hair, even though his hair is definitely supposed to be like thick and wavy and just like full of volume? But it has these like holes right here. This guy also has the same problem. Like when it comes to curly or wavy hair, you barely see gaps in the hair like that. Also, I just want to point out that AI is like really bad at making tattoos. Okay, now this one is definitely one of the more easier images to tell that this is AI. You remember when I was literally just talking about like the holes in the hair? Look at this right here. And over here. It's supposed to be like messy hair, but it still doesn't make sense. An experienced artist knows how to make that type of shape work. Also, another sweater. It was easy to find a few comparisons because this is like one of the more generic looking girl images to find online. This is an example of what it looks like when AI is trying to make messy hair. Oh wait, you guys remember the Rapunzel hair and how her hair was flying all over the place? This is similar. It's a girl with brown hair, green eyes. I swear like their noses always look the same. This one does have a different hairstyle, but her nose looks very similar. The shape of the eyes look very similar. You look closer and it's like everything's falling apart and like blending into each other. It's even blending into the straw right here. And the strands of hair look more like wisps of smoke than it does hair strands. The thing about this picture here is that she never posted like a full picture of this drawing. She only posted a speed paint, and even so it wasn't really a convincing one. Something super easy to recognize is the background. This is supposed to be her pirate ship, but you can see things are blending into each other. There's supposed to be the ropes connecting, you know, the sail and everything else up here, but there's like two very like clear lines, but then there's multiple up here and it just doesn't, it's not even straight, it doesn't even line up. And since this is the focus, people probably didn't notice. And look at the earrings. What did I say about earrings? And this hat, I don't even think it looks like a pirate hat. Why is there a braid like this here? It doesn't even match with the rest of the hair. Just look at the outfit in its entirety and tell me if any of it really makes sense. Look, I'm trying so hard to explain this, but it just makes little to no sense. I can tell you one thing though, she does have super long arms. And the more I thought about it, like the more images I looked at, is this supposed to be Miss Fortune from League of Legends? Snag this one because you look at the background. Look how unclear the ship is. This is a triple deck pirate ship over here. Like I've never seen that ship before. And also look around her chest area, like not to be a pervert, but like look up here. There's supposed to be these things to connect her corset. I think that's what that's supposed to be. It's kind of similar to this right here. Like there are these random patches and artifacts on her outfit on the left. It's trying to pull in multiple things at once, so when you look far, you're like, oh, that's pretty impressive, but when you look close, you're like, what is going on? I do think that this is definitely AI assisted or just an AI photo in general. The line art here is very jagged, it's not smooth. Like line art doesn't have to be 100% perfect, but these don't even look like human strokes. It almost makes the image look formless and undefined. And do you remember the aerial sketch? And it was supposed to look like a sketch, but things were kind of like melting and molding into each other. It's like chicken scratching, but without intention. I also want to point out this is supposed to be like a puffy jacket, like that's whatever. There's a string right here, but there isn't one right here. They both have their hair up. Here is more undefined line art. You can see it especially in her baby hairs. It's because it's not a person making strokes, it's a robot generating pixels. That's the best way I could put it. That's so bad. The curly hair is just so messed up right here. It's melting. This is Belle from Beauty and the Beast. Only mistakes I really see is like the hair. Belle's hair is incorrect. It's actually this, you know, in two parts in the front. I have no idea where this comes from. If anything, it kind of reminds me of the Rapunzel drawing. Even here, the AI managed to do the hairstyle right. The reason why I selected this one is because it kind of got that cutie style going on. They get the hair right too. I thought these two resembled each other the most. This is Gojo from Jujutsu Kaisen. This is also a new art style added to her book of 50 other art styles. I don't think that this is hers. Also, by the way, is that even Gojo's outfit? By the way, that's not Gojo's outfit. That's another sweater in disguise. Oh my goodness. Does Gojo wear something up to his neck? Yes, he does. But it's not that pattern. He's doing the pose where it's like they put the hand to their face like for the upteenth time. I think what she tried to do is make it look like he was pulling down his like glasses. The only thing that really looks right, that you can tell that this is Gojo, is obviously like the dark outfit, the white hair, the very blue eyes, the very pale white skin, the sunglasses. With all of these photos, all these AI photos that we've seen so far, you can probably pick up a bit. Let's start with the fact that her hairband is blending into her hair. Do I even need to say much about the fingers? And Miss Frizzle over here has another sweater thing going on. This is supposed to be tattoos. I mean, this is absolutely scribbles. This was commissioned work, by the way. Someone paid for this. This book doesn't have a spine. The spine should be right here. I found a picture of what AI generated books look like. It's where this right here is like where I highlighted. There's no spine. There's no spine. There's no indication that the book has a spine. It's just like an ice cream book sandwich. Now this drawing is very popular on Kikowah's side. I went back to a post where I think she first phased AI accusations, or at least people in the comments were bringing it up a lot. Like, these comments understand why AI is bad and definitely would want to support an artist that is using it, and rightfully so. It makes it much worse considering she's doing what she's doing. And if you're watching this far, you're probably half convinced that this is all very fishy or scummy. Can we be so serious about this time lapse, by the way? Come on. There was one thing I said is that like there's detail in the braids up here, but then it just fades into nothing. And some people were like, oh, that's how I draw braids, or it's hard to draw braids. I'm like, those are valid arguments. When people say that, I just have to remind them that they're comparing themselves to a high-level artist, or at least supposedly. Because what you're trying to say is that you're purposely trying to draw a braid like this. Like, you're purposely not trying to put detail into a braid, because an AI is doing this on purpose. They're trying to make it sound like Kikowah doesn't have the ability to. The face is super rendered and super smooth. And that quality of work isn't really consistent with the rest. I don't know why the braid is so stiff and sticking out like that when it really should just be down with this braid right here. And one more thing, either she's dating Gojo or she took his sweater, because Gojo was literally wearing the same shit earlier. The faces look super similar. Like, never mind everything else. Like, everything else is obsolete here in comparison. But the faces are super similar. Both of them even have like light brown hazel eyes, you know? They have the same brow shape, the same nose. They even have the same like lips, like the cupid bow in their lips. They both have braids, obviously, but they do both have black sweaters. And they also have hoop earrings, and they both have hazel or golden yellow eyes. And we have another one where they have hoop earrings and golden hazel eyes. This one doesn't even have like no braids. They do kind of have curly hair, but it's not the same hairstyle. And of course the hoop earrings, you can't forget that. Okay, this one's not a sweater this time. It's more like a, but still it's a turtleneck type of thing going on. And there's the blue jacket. For this one, this time she has two braid buns up here. She has like golden yellow hazel eyes. The hoop earrings look bad, but you can still tell that's what they're supposed to be. She does have dark clothing. I can't really tell if it's a sweater or not, but I can tell it definitely is a turtleneck. The face and the earrings are definitely more of a similarity, if anything else. I put this image out in my first video. There's no white in between the teeth, or at least a dark pink to signify the gums. Like, this is what it would look like. It's either teeth or it's just the inside of her mouth. There are these random circles, these random blobs. Like, you would think that it's supposed to be like water, right? The strands of the hair, it makes her hair look super thin instead of super light. And I guess that she could be underwater, but like, once again, there's no bubbles or anything to really indicate that besides the fish. She also happens to have like blue hair. She's underwater. At least this one shows bubbles. And then there's goldfish, but they're not glowing. I think Kikowah did that part. If I was like tracing over this hair using it as a reference, I would be super confused. The hair starts to like blend into the face, blend into the skin, just blend into like the background. Like this was supposed to be a goldfish probably, but it just got swallowed by the hair. What you're seeing here is from the direct Google results because I couldn't find the image. Like when I clicked on the link, it wasn't there anymore. So this is all we have. Basically just blue hair, blue eyes, underwater, and hairs everywhere. Oh, I forgot to say goldfish. Alright, mermaid in the bathtub. Now to someone that hasn't seen AI art, they probably wouldn't even recognize that this was possibly AI. There are a lot of flowers, a lot of petals in this bathtub, but the bigger flowers have a lot of detail in them. Most of them do anyways. Some of them are just as blurry as the ones at the bottom. But then the rest are literally blurring into her hair. And these are supposed to be petals. To me, that's very heavy AI fragmentation. Like there are even flowers up here just blending into one another right here. You can't determine multiple tiny little flowers because AI isn't good with those type of details. And this is from the Ohuhu promotion video where she got like sponsored or something, I think, or she got like a code. I really do think that she printed out a photo. She did post like a speed color. It wasn't a speed paint. Like she didn't show herself drawing this. It was a speed color. I noticed that the ink was already colored and it wasn't like line art. Like it looked very smooth, like the texture that was on the paper. But that's just me, I'm not 100% sure. But let's look a little bit closer to the line art. It kind of looks really messy, like illogical. Like I thought this was like a cleaned up drawing. Like at a glance you'd be like, wow, this is so colorful, this is so bright. The line art looks amazing, and then you look closer because you can see right here, this is supposed to be a braid, but it just looks so unfinished. And we've seen like the most random braid placements ever. Some of them are lumps, some of them are just straight up circles right here. I saw some images online and it was a very particular situation because this is not digital art. This is a printed out photo, or at least I think it is. In my opinion, I think this photo might be digitally enhanced. Now this might be a bit of a reach, but I do think that the sparkles and the tiny little circles look similar to Kikowah's artwork. And I know drawing those type of things is not hard on paper, but you don't see her drawing them in the speed paint. The head angle is similar. They both have this choker jewelry thing going on. They have pointy ears. They both have jewelry as bad as you can imagine. This is not a crown, but there are still like pieces and like fragments in the hair. Not defined at all. It's not clear. You can't tell what the heck is going on her head. Like you can make out the crystals, but what is this supposed to be? I want to say that it's an egg with polka dots, but it's kind of misshapen. It looks kind of like a rock. Now these two art pieces are identical in my opinion, just minus the horns. Like this one even has freckles over here. And I guess this one kind of has freckles. As I'm editing, I also wanted to point out that the freckles were not shown in the speed color. So this picture has a choker, Kikowah's art has a choker, and so did the last picture. Okay, and this is another Ohuhu promotion drawing. This one might even look worse than the first one we saw. Maybe this might be another deer girl that we're looking at. Look at the branches, look at the tiny leaves, but the leaves are like... There's a lack of clarity in about everything in this piece. And then look at the hair. Her hair is like spaghetti. It's like pasta, very thick pasta. It's like fettuccine. There are these random little markings on her cheek that don't make sense. And I guess over here, Kikowah couldn't tell if this was a butterfly or a leaf. Me neither, sister. Like the other butterflies, you can somewhat tell that they're butterflies. Literally phasing in and out of reality right now. I guess I found this girl's long lost sister over here. I mean, goddamn. You can see why these two are similar. Even the big space between their eyes is identical. And of course they have the pointed ears, jewelry on it, but you can't really make out the jewelry for shit. Oh, and there's also these weird little markings on their cheek. Of course they have like this flower crown stuff going on. They both have butterflies and flowers. I think the picture on the right reminds me of a bit of both. This one and this one. It's really just AI being mad repetitive. I said that I originally found this photo on Pinterest and it was kind of photoshopped, which made me think that it wasn't actually drawn. It was trying to give the impression that it was drawn because, you know, it's a marker promotion. It's for traditional art. When I went back to look for the original drawing, it's gone. Instead of the Ohuhu marker, it was like a black, like, ink pen. I thought this was related, but I wanted to show you guys that there are pictures out there. I got this from Pinterest, but there are pictures online that are faking traditional art. Like, at a glance, you probably have thought that this was done by a real artist. AI even generated a watermark. Another reason why I hate AI art. And it's not just the quality of the picture. You look closer and all the shapes of like the flowers and the butterflies are melting and blending into nothing. Yeah, like this right here, this used to be a butterfly. You can tell by the other butterflies in comparison, but this is just a little crumpled up thing. Like a balled up piece of paper. This is also another example. AI even generated like fake pencils. Like this looks like a mechanical colored pencil. And I bet you thought this is also an artist, but no. Look at this tool. Like you can't even tell what this is. It's like a marker, pen. It's every tool at once. And I swear, I've seen this art style before too, and it makes me so sad that some artist was ripped. Their precious hard work was just ripped from their hands, and a computer made absolute slop. Look at those lovely ribbons. Oh wow. The shape of the hair is a little bit wonky. There are petals that are fading in and out. Whatever flower this is, it's definitely not transparent. It gets so bad. Like, blending gets so bad over here, it even starts to blend with the background. I think perhaps maybe she drew the hand. There's texture in the clothes, I guess. I don't know how I feel about that. I feel like maybe she did actually do that. Maybe. There's a maybe right there. But then you look at the cover of the book. It's hard to even make out what's going on there. Yo, tell me why I looked online and this was like one of the first results I got. These are twin sisters. These are long lost twin sisters. Okay, I didn't know where to put this. You guys remember how I said that AI has a tendency to not put color in between the lips? I don't know. Maybe that's just a style choice Kikowah made. It's important for me to clarify this, but just because an artist might draw sweaters, hair swoops, or simple poses doesn't mean they're using AI. There's more to it than that, and we should know by now. It's not always one simple result, because you and I both know this technology is getting better and hard to catch. It's an even worse portrayal of trust when an artist uses something that spits in the face of creative integrity. And to have people pay a price this high enough to make a living is very unfair to those who are trying to achieve that same dream as you. Making art as an independent artist is a privilege, and there are people who refuse to pay an artist their worth. Even before AI, you had art thieves, tracers, and scammers trying to make a quick buck from someone else's hard work. Are you any different? You know how I said that I reached out to Kikowah this time and wanted to see her response after all this? Well, she left me on red. Twice. I want to add that the beginning of the video was made probably back in December. I was truly anticipating that she would get back at me, and here we are. So here is what I messaged her. You can pause to read it. But TLDR, I was like, you totally are using AI, and then I embarrassingly said that she had no indication she was having a kid. It wasn't long after I looked again at her post while doing research for this video. She did. And I was like, oh, shit, you did say that. Then I briefly brought up her suspicious usage of ChatGPT or whatever AI text generator was. After all that, I asked to see the speed paint or really anything regarding our favorite image here. She was really eager to show the specific speed paints she wanted. By the way, she did offer to show the full speed paints. Or maybe it was just that one she was comfortable with, presumably on Procreate. If she couldn't send the whole thing on Instagram, that's understandable. There's a video length limit. I guess she didn't want to send the speed paint I picked because she left me on red. And to be fair, it was the holidays, Christmas, and New Year's. I thought maybe she thinks I want a long response back. So I sent another message to bump up the previous one, and I was left on red again. Then I waited a little bit further. A month goes by. She didn't make any arrangements to show full-length speed paints. I wouldn't be surprised if she made the excuse that she actually deleted it to make room on her iPad so she doesn't have the files. Hey man, it just seems to me that she's not gonna reply. It's almost as if me directly messaging her was pointless. The anti-AI artist using AI won't admit to using AI? Shocker. The consensus is that I still think Kikowah is using AI art. And when I say use, I mean that in any sort of way. Referencing, tracing, copy-pasting, touching up, or just straight up using it. I am mainly criticizing the fact that she is lying about it while being anti-AI. Again, it was only a matter of time until someone caught on. It really sucks because I know she can draw too. If you're an aspiring artist, don't use AI. They label it as a tool, but making art is a skill that needs to be formed and worked on. Using AI will limit you if you're constantly using it as a crutch. If you take the time to actually understand what you're making, it comes naturally. You also get to witness your improvement over time knowing you did it all yourself. Nothing beats that feeling. This is the harm generative AI is doing, and it's more than just art too. It's music, literature, film, photography, and overall entertainment. All are natural forms of human creativity and expression that we've had for many, many years. It's one of the many things that give life meaning, as if the world didn't already feel artificial enough. But anyways, that's it. I think I covered just about everything, because this will be the last time I talk about it. If you're one of those people that still think I'm spouting bullshit despite all the evidence, then I don't know what to tell you. Later.